call a flat tire on my guitar. And so I thought this would be an opportunity for me to share 3 things that I have found that most people, when they teach you how to change your guitar strings, they do not share with that tutorial. So here you go. Join me as I go through these 3 things that I find that most people skip over. So if you are a beginner and have not really changed your guitar strings much, you might not know these things, and hopefully these will help you sooner than later and you have to figure these out on your own. So let's get to it. All right, so number 1, I have a flat tire. My flat tire is that high E string. There you go. My high E string is gone, okay? So hopefully you have your strings available, and my first tip is that I would recommend, first of all, I find that a question that a lot of students will ask is how often should you change your guitar strings? I find that most people don't change them often enough. So, basically with nylon string guitars, if your guitar is staying in tune and you're not having to really tune it, it's time to pretty much get new guitar strings. It's like they leave their, the aliveness kind of goes away, and you might like that little quieter tone. So if you prefer it, then that's totally fine. But generally, if the guitar strings are staying in tune for extended period of time, then they pretty much lost that extra vibrancy. So that's bonus tip. I wasn't even planning on sharing that with you. Anyway, my first tip, number 1, is that this is on the first string. So the string that you break is going to be on one set of 3. It's either going to be on the high 3 or the low 3. If you're not going to change all your strings, you can change that single one, but I recommend that you change them all, and I recommend, this is tip number 1, that you would change them in 3s. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take this string off, the 2nd and the 3rd string, because this is the string that's broken, and generally I will do the top 3 first, because pretty much all the time I change all 6 strings. Anyway, so I will take the top 3 off, the high 3 first, and I'll replace those, because the nylon takes the longest to stretch out and stay a little bit more in tune. So I'll do that first, and then I will remove the low 3. So the reason that I do this is it maintains some, about 50% of the tension on the bridge. And my understanding and my experience with flamenco guitars is they are temperamental, yeah? And the tension that is placed on this bridge, overall, we don't want to have huge variances in temperature and humidity. So in the tension on the guitar as well, we don't want to have huge variances. So I kind of discourage you taking all 6 strings off. I would do it in a set of 3 and then a set of 3. Okay, so that's tip number 1. How are you doing? One of the questions that I get, I'm kind of doing some bonus material, I guess, here, is what kind of strings do I use? That question is a great question, sure. I'm going to tell you what kind I use. I use Diadario, I think EJ 45 or 46 normal tension strings. I would encourage you to use whatever strings you want. It doesn't really matter, in my opinion. I have found those strings to work really well for me, and some people will have varying opinions on, like, they do not like those strings, and some people will like those strings, and other people will have varying, there are some people that actually use different brands of strings, like for the bass strings and for the treble strings, get all into that. If you know me at all, it's that I'm a low maintenance type of person. I don't like spending a lot of time on all these kind of things. I've got better things to do with my time. So I don't like having to deal with all that stuff. I found that that brand and that tension works for me, and I just keep it all the same. If it ain't broke, I'm not fixing it. So that's what I do. That's how I roll. I'm not saying it's the way. It's my way, and I'm happy with it. So yay me. All right, so I have these high 3 strings taken off. So my next tip will be, so see, here's the package. You get those out, and we have my first string. Okay, so I said my first string. I have 3 options here. There's now 3 strings missing. This is tip number 2, is that once I get this unraveled, boom, 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 do, 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 do. Okay, so my tip number 2 is that once you get this placed, so I put this here, there are other tutorials on, you can find a zillion on how to do the tie here, and I'm not set up technically to show you a close-up of how I do this, but it's basically the standard way of tying the loop down here. I'm not actually tying like a knot or whatever, but yeah, let's get this down here, get that done, get the tension on there, boom. Now I bring this up here. So my tip number 2 is twofold at number 2. Number 1 is that I try to leave as much up here. I try to use as little down there to make that knot, it's not a knot, but to tie it down there, so that way I have extra up here. And this is why. So now here again, there's lots of different ways to do this. I have my way, it works fine for me. And again, unfortunately I'm not set up to, I don't have multi-camera, I'm just using my phone, people. So I have my way of doing this. I get this set up, gotta bring this through. Bear with me here. If I had fancy gear and equipment, if I had the money for that fancy gear and equipment, and the time then to do the editing, I would do like a fast forward motion thing here. So imagine that. And for me, I'm kind of thinking Wayne's World. Anyway, so why do I leave as much tension up here as possible? Because this is tip number 2. As I've said multiple times, and you're probably sick of it, and you're like, just spill the beans already. So if I've taken off 3, if I do the 3rd one first, I'm going to have to contend with that string over the top. If you can see, like here, if I cut these 3 off, and then I start with the 4th string, then the 5th string and 6th string, when I do those, I'm going to have to go around that 4th string underneath it. So we don't want to do that. So lastly, let's just get this video done because you've been very patient. Thank you for being so patient. So tip number 1 was try to do 3 strings at a time, right? Tip number 2 is that I would highly recommend that you go with the string that has the lowest tuner first. So when I do the low 3 strings next, I am going to start with the 6th string, then I will do the 5th string, then I will do the 4th string. Okay? Just so I don't have to contend with that, because again, these people that are showing these videos on how to change your guitar strings never talk about that. They're like, oh yeah, just do it. Anyway, and then tip number 3 is do not cut. So keep as much of this as you can. So start with as little down here as necessary to make your preferred tie so that you have the maximum here. Okay? Why? Because if something goes wrong, and first of all, it could break. Maybe it breaks here at the saddle. It breaks here, and then now you still might have enough strings. You don't have to use a whole brand new string. You can still get by with that string, okay? Or if it doesn't grip well enough here or something, one of the knots, you have the full string. And I would recommend not cutting these if you have the option. So this is, I forgot, number 2 or number 3, tip number 3. Don't cut these for 24 hours. Make sure that if you have the option, don't cut them for 24 hours, okay? After a couple hours and you know it's staying and you've played through it and it's okay, you can cut down here, the extra, so it doesn't rattle. And then after, I would just wait the full 24 hours if you have that luxury to not cut these, okay? That's it. Those are my 3 tips that most guitar tutorial changing strings people don't share. So hopefully these help you. Let me know if you have any other questions. We also learned that I play a certain type of strings and that I don't put a lot of credence into all that stuff. As far as who plays what, I don't care. So, but if you enjoyed that, then I'm glad that I could help you in that way, because the strings that I use are pretty budget friendly, I would consider. So anyway, and then also you learned a couple of other things about strings and the volatility of the flamenco guitar, and then we want to maintain the, you know, consistent temperature, consistent humidity, and consistent tension on the what do you call it, the bridge and all that stuff. So that way you don't have mass tension changes on the guitar. Okay, those are my thoughts. I hope you've enjoyed my thoughts. Thanks so much for sticking around, and thanks for being a part of my YouTube channel. Please consider liking and subscribing. Let me know if you have any questions. There's a comment section down below that you can leave comments and questions. And also, I have a daily dozen where I go over the top 12 techniques in flamenco guitar and go through them with you. It's an ebook, and I talk about all the technical considerations, how all the biomechanics and everything. So make sure you get that. That's free. There will be a link in the description, and so you'll be able to find that pretty easily, okay? Anyway, thanks again for tuning in. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you enjoy tuning up your guitar the next time, and that these tips made your life easier. Take care. Bye-bye.